What up, y'all? This is your boy, Mr. Downtown Ray Mello, and you're listening to the Entertainment Report on iHeartRadio, live from Dubai for Wednesday, September 23rd, 2015, delivering some major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, facebook.com/The Entertainment Report with Ray Mello, that's RAYMELO, or on Twitter at The Enter Report, or on Instagram at The Entertainment Report. You can listen to the show anytime you want on iHeartRadio. Just go to iHeart.com or your iHeart phone app, search for The Entertainment Report, and it'll take you to the page. Hate starting the show on a passing, but this has been confirmed by the New York Post, the New York Times, the Associated Press, and the New York Yankees organization about 30 minutes ago. Yogi Berra, a three-time MVP who was the backbone of a record 10 world champion Yankees team in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, who became one of the most beloved figures in the franchise history despite a lengthy estrangement from the team, died Tuesday night, according to the Yogi Berra Museum. He was 90 years old. Berra, whose wife of 65 years, Carmen, died in March 2014, had been in failing health for some time. His death was announced by the Yogi Berra Museum and Learning Center in Little Falls, New Jersey, to which Berra had devoted himself in the final years of his life. Berra, a catcher who was named the American League's most valuable player in 1951, 54, and 55, led the Yankees to 5 consecutive world championships between 1949 and 1953, and also led a team that included Mickey Mantle and 3 of those seasons, Joe DiMaggio, and RBIs for 7 consecutive seasons, from 1949 to 1955. Berra was an 18-time All-Star, a member of a record 14 American League pennant winners, and a 1972 inductee into the Baseball Hall of Fame. That was the same year his uniform, number 8, was retired by the Yankees. Berra, who dropped out of school after the 8th grade to help support his family, is nearly as well known for his unique use of the English language as he is for his baseball career. His wit and wisdom, it's never over till it's over, or when you come to a fork in the road, take it. If the world were perfect, it wouldn't be, have not only found their way into the American lexicon, but also into the Berra familiar quotations. While Berra protested he never said some of the things I said, it was precisely those things that made him a part of the fabric of baseball for more than 7 decades and a national treasure. Former Yankee pitcher David Cohn told the Post in 2012, people who don't know anything about baseball know about Yogi Berra. Following his career, Berra managed both the Yankees in 1964 and the Mets in 1973 to the World Series, and is just one of 6 men to have managed teams to pennants in both leagues. But that designation mattered little to Yankee owner George Brenner when he fired Berra following his 6-10 start to the 1985 season, after promising Berra, who guided the Yankees to an 87-75 record in 1984, he'd be his manager all season. What Berra later said bothered him the most was not the dismissal, but that Steinbrenner didn't have the decency to do it himself. He instead said General Manager Clyde King. Berra vowed he never set foot in Yankee Stadium again as long as Steinbrenner owned the team, and for 14 years until a truce was broken by W fans Susan Waldman in January 1999, he kept his word. Berra said after Steinbrenner reached out to him by phone and the two set up a meeting at Berra's museum, he called and apologized. He said the right things. If he didn't, I wouldn't be here. When Steinbrenner pulled up for their summit, Berra looked at his watch and told the Yankee owner, "You're 10 minutes late." In reality, Steinbrenner was 14 years late, but Berra's prolonged absence only made the hearts of the Yankee fans grow fonder, and with DiMaggio having died just 2 months after Berra made his peace with Steinbrenner, Yogi quickly became the most popular figure at Old Times Day, and whenever he threw out the ceremonial first pitch before countless playoffs and World Series games. He said, not too many guys. Joe Torre, former manager of the Yankees, said in the Post, "No, not too many guys can be recognized by one name. When he left here for that long period of time, it hurt his feelings because of his loyalty to the organization. And then when he was welcomed back, he ran back." Berra even became a bit of a good luck charm. On that summer day in 1999, when the Yankees held the Yogi Berra Day to formally welcome him home, Cohn pitched a perfect game. In the elevator after that game, a fan leaned over and said, "Berra, you really should come here more often." Born Lawrence Peter Berra to immigrant parents in St. Louis in 1925, he was nicknamed Yogi by a boyhood friend who thought by the way he often sat with his legs folded under his arms and hanging by his side, Berra resembled a yogi, an Indian holy man. friend had seen it in a recent movie. Berra signed with the Yankees in 1942. A year earlier, he tried out with his hometown St. Louis Cardinals, but refused to sign for $250 because it was half of what the team's general manager, Branch Rickey, offered Berra's boyhood friend, George Gagariola. As it turned out, Rickey knew he was about to leave the Cardinals and wanted to hire Berra so he could sign him when he became general manager in Brooklyn in 1942. The Yankees, however, signed Berra first. One of 35 Hall of Famers served in World War II. Berra, then playing in the Yankees minor league system, joined the Navy. Just before dawn on D-Day, the 19-year-old Berra and his crewmates were sent ahead of the main landing force to draw fire and help U.S. forces locate and eliminate enemy machine guns nests in the Battle of Normandy. Berra said in 2010 it was like the 4th of July to see all them planes and ships on Normandy. My gosh, you couldn't see anything. I stood up on the deck of our boat, looked up, and my officers tell me, you better get your heads down here before it gets blown off. I said, I like it up here. He said, you better get down there or you won't have it. You won't look at anything. Being a kid, what the heck, I said. Nothing can kill me, I found out later on. After his discharge, Berra returned to the minors where he was credited with driving in 23 runs in a doubleheader. He made his major league debut in 1946 at the age of 21, homering in his first game. Known as a bad ball hitter for striking out infrequently, he struck out just 12 times in 597 at-bats in 1950. Berra may have had his best season in 1956 when he batted .273 with 30 homers and 98 RBIs as the Yankees won the pennant by 9 games and beat the Dodgers in the World Series. He finished second in the MVP, balloting that season to Mantle, who won the Triple Crown. From 1950 to 1956, Berra never finished lower than fourth in the most valuable player voting. He was behind the plate for a pair of no-hitters by Allie Reynolds during the 1951 season and for Don Larsen's perfect game in Game 5 of that 1956 World Series. The snapshot of Berra leaping into Larsen's arms after the final out is one of the most iconic in baseball history. Larsen said, who didn't shake off Berra all afternoon, he did all my thinking for me. While his playing career ended in 1963, Berra joined the Yankees coaching staff and managed the team to the pennant the following season. He was fired after a 7-game loss to the Cardinals in the 1964 World Series because in the eyes of the front office, he was too close to the players who had been his teammates only a year earlier and had lost control of the team. Berra's fate may have been sealed by a late August incident on the team bus involving Berra and Phil Lentz, a harmonica-playing utility infielder. After being swept in a 4-game series by the White Sox in Chicago, Berra got into a bus and heard Lentz, who was sitting in the back playing Mary Had a Little Lamb. Upset with a recent string of bad plays, Berra told Lentz to stop playing, suggesting where Lentz could shove his instrument. But Lentz couldn't hear him and asked Mantle what Berra had yelled. Mantle said Berra wanted Lentz to play louder. So Lentz played, and on the furious Berra charged to the back of the bus to confront him. Reporters traveled with the team those days, and the next day an account of the incident was in every major newspaper in the country. The Yankees had lost 12 of its previous 18 games at the time of the incident, but they went on a tear immediately after. They finished the season with winning 30 and their final 41s to win the pennant. Still, Berra dismissed that fall after losing the World Series to the Cardinals. He hooked on with the Mets as a player-coach the following season, but after getting 4 at-bats, he became full-time coach. Berra also managed the Mets for 3+ seasons, taking over after the sudden death of manager Gil Hodges in April 1972. Despite an 82-79 regular season record, Berra's Mets won the 1973 National League pennant. They lost the World Series to the A's in 7 games. Berra returned to the Yankees organization as a coach. The Yogi Berra Museum and Learning Center on the campus of Montclair State University, which opened in 1999, is more than just a Valentine to Berra. The center reflects the lifelong commitment to the pudgy kid from the predominantly Italian working class section of St. Louis, as the hill who never attended high school had to educate of young people. The museum was burglarized in October 2014, thieves making out with Berra's 3 MVP awards and his World Series rings. None of the items have been recovered. Funeral services are pending. Berra once said, "You should always go to other people's funerals, otherwise they won't come to yours." He's survived by 3 sons, Larry Tim, a former NFL player with the Baltimore Colts, and Dale, who had an 11-year Major League career, including 2 seasons with the Yankees, 11 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. Now turning things to Dancing with the Stars. For the second consecutive night, Garrett Busey was at the risk of elimination on Dancing with the Stars, and for the second consecutive night, the outrageous actor escaped. Instead, victim number 2 on season 21 of the ABC reality contest was Victor Espinoza. The jockey made history winning the Triple Crown riding American Pharoah in June, but the Pineside's contestant couldn't win over voters, who gave Espinoza and partner Karina Smirnoff the boot on Tuesday. Erin Andrews begged after host Tom Bergeron delivered the bad news, "Please come back every season. We've had the best time watching you." Espinoza said, "I've had an amazing time. Tonight was just as special for me as I wanted to dance with Karina and everyone else from my heart. Yesterday was just a little bit off as those pants were so tight." Espinoza previously admitted to the Wrap that he'd never danced before going on the show. He said, "I was so stiff before, so I figured it would be a good workout. I wouldn't have to go to the gym and it'd be fit to ride the horses." He at least got his wishes to make it past round 1 and not to be voted off first, as that dubious honor went to the singer Shaka Khan on Monday. Bindi Irwin remains one of the frontrunners along with Tamir Braxton and Nick Carter, while Kim Zolciak improved second Foxtrot Monday, saving her after her disastrous opening salsa. Dancing with the Stars airs Monday at 8 p.m. on ABC. Both Scream Queens and The Muppets premiered at 8 p.m. Tuesday, and the new shows are already huge hits. On social media, at least. The teen slasher comedy from Glee and American Horror Story creator Ryan Murphy revealed a college Greek system that it's even more cutthroat than in real life and had Twitter users instantly wanting to pledge. Starring Emma Roberts, Keke Palmer, Abigail Breslin, Skylar Samuels, Leah Michele, Nick Jonas, Diego Boneta, and horror icon Jamie Lee Curtis, the Fox freshman targeted social media audiences with its millennial-friendly premise. It was no surprise that hashtag Scream Queens quickly became a trend on Twitter, scaring up users before the first drop of blood was even spilled. One college-age viewer said that she was, quote, "praying nobody kills me," while another warned not to get attached to anyone because, quote, "nobody is safe." With all the campy, bloody, violent fun, one witty user described Scream Queens as like Sharknado with better outfits. And it's safe to say there won't be any murders on the Muppets, but there was already a devastating breakup on the reality-style reboot. Will they or won't they romance between Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy is over, and the film favorites have to tackle adult problems such as the leading man moving on with a younger, prettier pig. The ABC revival included a show within a show format that is presented documentary style, easily won the hearts of adults who grew up with the original, with many calling it hilarious, really funny, and one user saying it's everything I've ever wanted. Of course, fans took side with every love triangle, and the Team Miss Piggy and Team Denise lines have already been drawn on Twitter. One of the members of the Bling Ring is once again in legal hot water. Nicholas Prugo, who was convicted as part of the infamous group that engaged in a burglary spree that reportedly victimized Paris Hilton, Orlando Bloom, and Lindsay Lohan, has been charged with stalking and soliciting a rape, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office said Tuesday. Edward Feinstein has also been charged in the case. Prugo and Feinstein were accused of scheming to harass West Hollywood estheticians Dawn DeLuise and her 2 adult daughters. During the alleged harassment campaign, which took place from December 2013 to April 2014, the pair allegedly posted an ad on the internet soliciting men to rape DeLuise. If convicted, Prugo faces up to 14 years in state prison, while Feinstein faces up to 7 years in county jail. Prugo's potential sentence is heavier due to his prior conviction. Prugo, who was taken into custody Tuesday, will be arraigned on Wednesday. Prosecutors will request that his bail be set at $485,000. Feinstein has been released on a $450,000 bail. Prugo was sentenced to 2 years in state prison in the Bling Ring case, but was released on probation after a year. 50 Cent is back in the court system, this time as a plaintiff. The rapper's real name, Curtis Jackson, has filed a lawsuit against a man who he claims wrongfully acted as a representative for himself and Jackson's production company, G Unit, and damaged his reputation with the plan for a reality show that appalled Jackson. The suit claims that G Unit entered a consulting agreement with Andrew Jameson, paying him $270,000 for his services. When the arrangement didn't produce results, the complaints say Jameson continued to hold himself out as a representative for G Unit anyways, and attempted to broker deals for a project that didn't make sense for the company. One of those projects, the suit says, was a reality show for E! Entitled The Unit, which would have depicted the day-to-day activities at G Unit. The rapper hated the idea, the suit says, particularly when he heard a proposed concept for the show. The lawsuit reads, Jackson was appalled when he recently learned that Jameson suggested that they include a young white girl in the show to make it more sellable, and that Jameson sends an inappropriate and highly offensive text to an officer of G Unit in connection with that suggestion. Jamison was told not to close the deal for the show, the suit alleges, but when Jackson told E he didn't want to do the show, he was told that Jamison and Jackson's then attorney had already closed the deal, the complaint says. Jackson's ultimate refusal to go forward with the show left his relationship with E and NBC Universal severely damaged, according to the suit. Jackson is suing for alleged violation of the California Labor Code, claiming that Jamison was performing the service of a talent agency, even though he didn't hold a valid talent agent's license, and that he was charged for talent representation services in advance in violation of the lawsuit. The suit also alleges breach of fiduciary duty and breach of contract. Jackson, who recently filed for bankruptcy after being hit with millions of dollars in damages in a lawsuit involving a sex tape, is seeking unspecific damages. The Crow director Corin Hardy is in danger of flying the coop as a result of the relatively immediate bankruptcy, according to producer Edward R. Pressman, who on Tuesday filed an objection to the inclusion of the project among the studio's assets it prepares for a sale. Relatively had invested in excess of $7 million in the Crow's remake, including $2.5 million to exercise the options to acquire and maintain the property's sequel, prequel, and remake rights, according to the filing. Those rights reverted back to Pressman if principal photography does not start with 3 years from when the deal was signed, which is now 18 months away. Pressman filed the objection in U.S. bankruptcy court in New York because he claims the stalking horse bidder for Relativity Films and TV asset hasn't demonstrated adequate assurance of future performance, and he's concerned that Relativity's new owner won't immediately have the resources to finance the film and release it on no less than 1,000 screens in North America, which requires an investment of no less than $10 million to $12 million. The Crow's currently without a star as Jack Houston exited the picture several months ago. Daytime Emmy-winning producer Andre Salomon Bautista has pleaded not guilty to stabbing his tenant and roommate, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office announced Tuesday. Prosecutors say Bautista, who won a Daytime Emmy under the name Andre Both, attacked the 23-year-old actor Clayton Hames with a kitchen knife at their Studio City home on September 8th. The incident reported happened after Bautista bragged that he would one day win 5 Oscars, and Hames scoffed at the notion. Hames told CBS Los Angeles, when he said 5 Oscars, we all kind of laughed a little bit and he got really upset. I was terrified for my life. I'm just happy to be alive. Shortly after the incident, the Los Angeles Police Department issued a warrant for Bautista's arrest. The DA's office said he surrendered at the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City on September 17th. Bautista was arraigned Monday on 1 count of attempted murder and assault with a deadly weapon. His bail was set at $550,000, and a bail motion hearing is scheduled for September 24. If convicted, he faces up to 13 years in state prison. Bautista won a Daytime Emmy earlier this year as a producer for the online soap opera The Bay. Goodfellas producer Irwin Winkler is now in court with a claim that Warner Bros. Had reportedly a financial loss on the Martin Scorsese gangster film and that he had been cheated of contingent profits related to the home video income. Represented by Burt Fields, the producer says he's entitled to 50% of the net profits, but that a film that cost $30 million to make and took in $275 million at the box office wasn't even in the black. Winkler alleges that at least $18 million in damages for breach of contract or fraud. The complaint filed by the LA Superior Court said on Tuesday Warner Bros. Even charged $40 million of interest on its $30 million cost of production, says the complaint filed in the LA Superior Court on Tuesday. But that was only the tip of the iceberg. This was the studio's account on steroids. It was also fraud. What Warner Brothers represented as the receipt of Goodfellas were really only a fraction of the actual receipts. Warner Brothers concealed more than $140 million of its actual receipts. A spokesperson for Warner Brothers responded, "These allegations are baseless and we are vigorously defended." According to the complaint from Winkler, who also produced Rocky, Raging Bull, The Right Stuff, and other big films, his net profits are spelled out in a 1981 contract. It took almost a decade to make Goodfellas, starring Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Ray Liotta, but the payoff was grand with 6 Academy Award nominations and a healthy box office. Now, 86-year-old attorney Fields, whose past mob hits included representing Godfather author Mario Puzo in a lawsuit against Paramount, is pointing to periodic accounting reports showing the receipts and expenses of Goodfellas. It wasn't until 2014 that Winkler allegedly discovered misrepresentations in receipts. When challenged by an accountant, Warner Bros. Is said to have finally fessed up. The 2014 date figures to be important of statute of limitation purposes, though the lawsuit is also asserting fraud just in case the contract claim is ruled untimely. Brian Williams is back. Before Pope Francis even set foot in the U.S., the demoted MSNBC anchor returned to the airwaves more than 6 months after he was suspended and ultimately lost his job at NBC Nightly News anchor because it was discovered that he repeatedly embellished his accounts of field reports. Wearing a navy blue suit jacket, light blue shirt, and a blue striped tie, Williams appeared rested as he began anchoring MSNBC's coverage of Pope Francis' visit to the U.S. at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday. Indeed, the pontiff had not yet arrived on U.S. soil when Williams returned to the air, but he repeatedly threw to a live shot of throngs of people waiting for the Pope to arrive and be greeted by President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama at Washington, D.C.'s area airport. Anchoring from what appeared to be a busy newsroom, Williams was joined in the studio by another new addition to the MSNBC team, Kate Snow, who will anchor the 3 to 5 p.m. block on MSNBC. It was announced last week, and anchor the Sunday edition of NBC's Nightly News. Meet the Press anchor Chet Todd, who hosted a 5 p.m. MSNBC show that begins next Monday, also joined Williams in the studio. Williams also checked in with NBC correspondents who reported on the massive security preparations underway for the Pope's visit, with Stephanie Goss reporting from Manhattan, New York, highlighting how street closures and other measures planned to coincide with the New York leg of Pope Francis's trip could inconvenience New Yorkers also dealing with additional traffic caused by the annual meeting of the General Assembly of the United Nations. After Goss' report, Williams said it's going to be the week that was of the next few days in New York. After dealing with some technical difficulties of communicating with their on-the-ground correspondent, Williams talked with Snow about the Obama daughters who joined their parents to greet the Pope, commenting on what a memory this will be for them and how much they've grown. Two-time Academy Award-winning actor Robert De Niro isn't exactly known for being a lively interviewee, but up until now, he hasn't shown his angry side to the media world. A British journalist, however, seemingly hit the wrong buttons while talking to De Niro during his promotional tour for The Intern. After being asked how he resisted the temptation to go into autopilot mode on set, combined with the comment about New York's Tribeca district having been taken over by the banks, the Taxi Driver star, who already appeared depressed, according to the Radio Times, reported Emma Brockett's asked that she pause her tape recorder. Brox wrote, he then popped out of his chair, started pacing madly, and says he's cutting the interview because of negative interference of what I said. When he was asked to be more specific about the source of this negative interference, Nero reportedly said, all the way through, negative interference the whole way through, and I'm not doing it, darling. You're probably not even aware that you're doing it, the negative interference. Earlier, in the press junket, Brockett claims that De Niro's The Intern's co-star Anne Hathaway started crying at the roundtable discussion when describing the honor of working with De Niro, which he responded by looking baffled and vaguely appalled. The Intern, written by and directed by Nancy Myers, featured De Niro as a 70-year-old apprentice to Hathaway's online fashion retailer CEO. Warner Bros. Is releasing the movie in U.S. theaters on Friday. Jordan Peele, one half of the comedic duo on Comedy Central's Key and Peele, is heading to horror via a project that promises to take on race relations. Peele's teaming up with QC Entertainment and Blumhouse Productions on horror project Get Out, which Peele wrote and will direct. The plot centers on a young African-American man who visits his Caucasian girlfriend's family estate. Peele said, like comedy, horror has an ability to provoke thought and further the conversation on real social issues in a very powerful way. Get Out takes on the task of exploring race in America, something that hasn't really been done within the genre since Night of the Living Dead 47 years ago. It's long overdue. Jason Blum and QC Entertainment principals Sean McKittrick and Edward H. Ham Jr. are producing. Rock legend David Bowie has penned the theme song for the upcoming heist drama The Last Panther, Sky's original series about the real-life Balkan gang of diamond thieves. He wrote the song entitled The Last Panthers following a meeting with the director of the series, Jonah Rennick. It's the first time Bowie has written original music for the film or TV screen in 20 years, the company said. Rennick said, I was looking for one of the icons of my youth to write the music for the title sequence, but it was presented with a god. His first response was precise, engaged, and curious. He added, the piece of music he laid before us embodied every aspect of our characters in the series itself. Dark, brooding, beautiful, and sentimental. All along, the man inspired and intrigued me, and as the process passed, I was still overwhelmed with his generosity. I still can't fathom what actually happened. The 6-part series has its world premiere at the MIPCOM this next month. It stars Samantha Horton, Tahar Rahim, and Sir John Hurt. The series is based on the crimes of the Pink Panther gangs, known for its bold robberies and inventive ways of hiding its holes. Actress Rose McGowan released a new music video for her song RM486. The actress turned singer showcased a variety of eccentric looks in the music video, going bald and nude in white paint at the beginning and then donning a series of wild outfits that look like clothes Lady Gaga would wear. The video is in fact directed by Jonas Ackerlund, who directed Lady Gaga's Telephone. McGowan, known for her role in Charm, released the music video of Nowness and gave an interview in which she talked about why she left acting. McGowan said, "I woke up one day and realized I hated acting and that I've always hated it. Imagine it's predominantly men whose scripts get done, so it was mostly a male voice coming out of my mouth for 15 years. She talked about how she felt it's important to represent women's bodies in a non-sexual manner. She says the body shaming that goes on in America is absurd. Recently at a museum, there was this woman behind me looking at a new sketch of a man, and she said she never let her child around that, and I turned to her and said, 'Oh, really? Would you like your child to first see a penis when it's erected and coming at her? I don't want to do this kind of thing, but I feel I have to do to stimulate change.'" Azalea Banks was caught on camera using a homophobic slur during a confrontation with a flight attendant, according to a video obtained by TMZ. The broke with expensive taste rapper is seen struggling with the male attendant for her bag because she wanted to get off the plane. During the altercation, Banks used a slur. According to TMZ, the incident happened Monday night on a flight from New York to Los Angeles after Banks allegedly tried to jump in front of passengers to exit the plane, and another passenger stopped her. Banks is accused of spitting in that passenger's face, punching